Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be all about Thanksgiving eyeshadow palettes. So Thanksgiving is next week. It is currently right now Saturday, so we're actually like 5 days away from Thanksgiving. And I went through my entire eyeshadow collection looking for palettes that I think would be really great to create some Thanksgiving looks. Now when I think of Thanksgiving, I'm thinking orange, yellow, brown, red, and maybe even a little green. So I picked out 12 palettes. I have 6 drugstore and 6 more on the higher end to share with you guys. I used one of them on this look today, which I love. It's giving me like fire fall vibes, which I'm completely here for. So if you want to see the palettes that I'm talking about and also how I got this look, well then just keep on watching. So for starters, we'll begin with the palette that I use on my eye, and that's actually the Profusion Spectrum palette. And these colors are just so gorgeous. It's actually a new addition to my collection. And I used the yellow, the orange, and this really nice brick red to create this look. I'll insert the clip kind of showing it to you. Since these colors are a bit more bright, they were a little harder to work with, especially that yellow and orange. But I do find that with some of these colors too, it's really good to just be able to use your finger. I feel like we typically always use our finger for like shimmer shades and things like that, but I find that that also works with matte shades. So when you're having some trouble with some more bright or bold colors, try using your finger and like just dabbing it on it. That really did help when it came to putting that yellow. As I blended it out, I just felt like it continued to just like pick up and completely get off my eye. But when I went in with my finger and really just dabbed it on, it really helped get the full color on the eye, and I love this look. This is literally what I think of when I think of a fall look or like a Thanksgiving look, just like a nice orange eye. As I'm talking of other palettes, I'll also be kind of just like inserting inspo pics that I found on Pinterest. I love to go to Pinterest when I need some inspiration, and I found a few really cute ones, so I'll be sharing those with you as well. Next up, for those who want a more neutral look, I thought these e.l.f. quads were so cute. They have a ton of different colors, but this palette specifically called Pumpkin Pie I thought was so cute, super easy to work with. You can just use like this brown to be able to use as a transition color, and just put any one of these two as an eye topper, and you have a really nice bronzy eye look, which honestly you can never go wrong. And I think a neutral palette like this is really nice to pair with a more bold lip. And I have these two lippy options from Too Faced because these two colors also just scream to me. It's part of their gingerbread collection, and it's Gingerbread Man and Gingerbread Girl. These colors are just completely up my alley. Honestly, I was trying to use it today, but I'm like, okay, that's too much for me. I don't like having a bold color on the eye and on the lip. But a palette like this that's more on the neutral side, and you know, it's not much going on in the eye, pairing it with like a standout brick red or orangey color would look so beautiful for Thanksgiving. Moving on, I have this Milani Most Loved Matte, and this one is an all matte palette, but I am here for these specific tones. I think this is perfect for those of you who don't want any shimmer shades, or you have some toppers, you just want some good mattes. This palette is so nice. Their formula is really good. I like that it also has this like middle section for like mauves and purples. If you're more on the cooler side or you like those cooler tones, you have that option. And then we have like just solid browns here if you want to go a more neutral route. So I think this palette is phenomenal for honestly Thanksgiving season, but just all year round. It is such a good staple product. Next up, we have Miss ColourPop, and we have the California Love palette. And honestly, if this doesn't scream Thanksgiving, fall, like I don't know what does. And here you have quite a few different formulas. You have some mattes, you have some shimmers, you have a glitter. So you can really create a lot of different looks. When I look at this palette, I think of this color off the bat, this color mixed with this one, and even just this brown up here to be able to deepen the look would look beautiful. So I think this is another great one to be able to use. Oh yeah, that looks so nice. Like, honestly, when I was just like, what palettes can I think off the top of my head? This one came off the top of my head, and one more that I'll show you guys in a few, because this color scheme just screams fall, it just screams Thanksgiving, it just does. Next, we have a She Glam palette, and this one I absolutely love. And honestly, thinking about it now, I kind of just went and reached out for a lot of the neutral palettes that I use often, but that also have some colors that can work for Thanksgiving season. And like I mentioned earlier, that includes like oranges and browns and colors like that. So I have to talk about my She Glam Smart Cookie palette because I love this stuff. I think it is so good. Like this color scheme as well, they're all matte. But this whole entire row right here is just absolute perfection. You have the lighter tones, you have the deeper tones, so you can like create a winged liner with that brown. You can like brighten up the eye using these. You can do just this color all over the eye. Like there's just so many options with this palette, and I love it. I think this is honestly my most favorite and most used She Glam palette. I think it's great. I think the formula is nice. I think it works really great, especially for this time of year. So I would definitely grab this palette, and I think it's like $8, which is unbelievable. I think it's amazing and perfect for the holiday season. The last drugstore palette that we have, and this one I believe I purchased last year and I still love it, is going to be this NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. And this is what I like to call a mega palette, and you can literally use this year round. You have some of those amazing brighter colors, but you like just looking at this, I'm like, this screams fall to me. This screams festive. This screams just like wearable, but also pops of colors. And I think specifically for Thanksgiving, I can look at this color, this brick red. There's like this really nice green gold. There's just so many beautiful shades here that you can really play around with. I did mention that I think of green too, even though green I think more for Christmas, but like mixing a nice brown and green together I think will look phenomenal for Thanksgiving as well too. So you have those really pretty shades that you can mix around, like even just something along these lines like that, so you can see. So I love that this palette has so many options. It is a little on the pricier side for drugstore, but nothing compared to like Sephora palettes or higher end palettes. And I think that the shimmers are really great. Some of the mattes are a little harder to work with, but that kind of goes for like these brighter and bolder colors, which overall are more complicated or complex to work with. So like I said, just try and use your finger as well too. I find that that helps a lot. But this palette I think is honestly just like spectacular. These colors are divine. Moving on, now we're gonna go into our more higher end palettes. And the number one palette that I literally think of every time I think of like fall or Thanksgiving or anything like that is this Natasha Denona Sunset palette. Now I know Natasha Denona is on the pricier side, but her formula is divine. And this one, honestly, I think I've had for like over 4 years. So I'm considering repurchasing because it really does have some beautiful colors. Like first of all, that yellow, that's the first thing that my eye is drawn towards. That orange is just beautiful and divine, and this topper is just insane. It's like a fiery orange, and look, this is like 4 years later and this palette is still just like perfection. So over time they do get a little like rusty dusty, which honestly is kind of a little bit disappointing. I mean, I'm sure a palette isn't supposed to last 4 years or more, but still, like if I'm paying a lot of money, I want this to last me a while. But I don't think I used it as much as I would now, so I am considering repurchasing it because I just love the entire color story. I think it's perfect for the fall time. I think it's perfect for Thanksgiving season. I think it's perfect for just so many different looks. Like honestly, this yellow, even this red, that looks so beautiful. And her toppers never disappoint. Like those don't go out of style. They don't time. They don't, they age very well. I'd say more her mattes are the ones that get a little complicated. I don't know if you can see like that orange is kind of just looking a little patchy and like Rough, which is the color that I would have wanted to use more. So I really am considering repurchasing, but this is like literally one of the #1 palettes that I think of when it comes to Thanksgiving, fall time, anything like that. It has literally every single color that you can think of. The only thing it's missing is green, but I have that in a few others. I think this palette is divine. Speaking of green, I did just want to mention this Sigma Ivy eyeshadow palette. Now, Sigma is a brand that I haven't really like dove into much, but lately they did come out with a bundle of 9 pan palettes, and I was just like, ooh, like this is the time for me to like dive in and try these. And I bought quite a few of them, and they were just so beautiful. The formula is divine. I've heard about them and that they're good. They're just a little on the pricier side, so I never really just like, you know, dived into it. But this one I think is beautiful for those who don't want orange. If you don't want orange, you don't want red, you just want your neutrals, you want some cool tone neutrals, and you want some options. This green I think is stunning over a nice brown or anything like that. I think this is a really nice neutral palette with 2 pops of shimmer. So if you want to go with some blue or some green, you can always just like put that over top of the neutrals and it would be beautiful. But I love the formula. I love this cute little compact palette. I think it's so great. They have like 9 different other shades, so I'm sure there's other ones that have like oranges and things like that, but I wanted to just shout this specific one out because it did have that beautiful green that I love. Moving on, we'll talk about Miss Huda Beauty. Now this palette I've also had for a while and I'm considering repurchasing maybe down the line. She still works fine. And that is going to be the Desert Dusk palette. And she has so many, and it's mostly just like this side, all of those stunning rustic apricot orangey colors. Like this color speaks to me. This color speaks to me, and even just these eye toppers I think will look so beautiful to create a monochromatic eye look for the holidays, and I think this is just so beautiful. You also have those gold tones that you can put over any of these shades to just be able to bring in some shimmer, and her formula is great. I really enjoy it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. This is one of like my first Huda Beauty palettes that I purchased, so it is near and dear to my heart, and I literally was obsessed with this color called Eden, and this is just my type of shade. I love those like blue, pink, and purple eyeshadows. I just love how that looks, and I love how it looks specifically on my eye. So this is another palette that I think would be great for Thanksgiving season. So next up we have Mel Cosmetics, and this is the 27 palette, and she is a beauty. Look at these monochromatic vibes when it comes specifically to like rustic shades. This is absolutely beautiful. Honestly, if this doesn't scream fall or Thanksgiving, I don't know what else does. Mel Cosmetics formula is just so good. Their mattes are so buttery. Like, honestly, there's not a lot that swatches like this, so I would definitely look into Mel Cosmetics. I know they have quite a few other palettes that can also work for this Thanksgiving color scheme, so definitely check them out. But Mel Cosmetics, honestly, I feel like is so underrated and should be talked about so much more because their formula is divine, and it's not super pricey like Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath prices. So you really are getting really good quality shadows for a good price. Next up, we have Miss Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. This one also as well screams complete fall to me, complete Thanksgiving, and it's just a pattern of like these rustic reds and browns and tan, and these just really beautiful neutral but a bit more fall like. They just remind me of the leaves, literally. Like all of these colors kind of just like remind me of how the trees start turning and the leaves start turning yellow and orange and red, and that's when you know that fall is here, and that's typically around Thanksgiving time. So these colors are just the ones that speak to me right now and that I would recommend for Thanksgiving Day and like Thanksgiving week and like fall and things like that. Now the last palette that I want to talk about, and this one is honestly super shocking to me because first of all, it took me a little while to get it. Like I would see it in store and I was just like, oh, it's pretty, but like, do I need it? It's another neutral palette, blah, blah, blah. Then my older sister purchased it and she could not stop talking about it. So I went over her house one day and I swatched it and I put one of the shimmer shades and I was just like, I need this palette, and I've used it so much since I purchased it, and it is just so good. And that's going to be the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes palette. And first of all, this packaging is everything. It is so nice and like sleek and compact, and I love the black with how the name is just written on here. But these colors, wow, wow, wow. The browns are just so universal, not too warm, not too cool, can be used so nicely. I love that it has a green, it has this gold, and then it has more of just like an orangey bronzy gold here. It's just so beautiful. And honestly guys, when I tell you like these are so buttery, those are the matte ones. It is just like wow, 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 wow. So this for sure is a recommendation if you're looking for something to use for Thanksgiving season, fall season, honestly for just an everyday. That one sits out on my little everyday palette collection that I have for just palettes that I know I love their formula, I love the color and things like that to just be able to use. So that rounds up this video. I hope you found it helpful. Definitely dig into your collection if you have, to see if you have any of these palettes. And even if you don't, just look for some of those colors like I spoke. Some yellow, some orange, some reds, even some browns and a pop of green would look so beautiful and so festive for Thanksgiving Day. I hope you guys have an amazing one. Spend it with your loved ones, eat a lot of food, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.